Hey friends, thanks for coming back to my channel. I'm doing a collaboration with my friends over at Jamie Ray Vintage Creative Business Coaching, and all of my other friends are making videos, so I hope you check out the playlist below and you go on over and watch them as well. There's a lot of talented people in this group, and Jamie and Zeb certainly have a way of pushing us to expand further than we know. These are vintage screens that I found at a thrift store. I love them. I love anything old and vintagey, and this green is beautiful. Obviously I like green because you can see it in the back, but this green is really, really good. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm going to make this color using DIY paints and try and get as close as I can for 2 tables that'll go alongside my couch. I hope you'll follow along and go on over and watch the rest of them. You won't be disappointed. I took these old screens and I paid $4.97 for them. I thought that was a steal. And I cleaned off the little sticker, and then I just take a hand broom and I brush off as much dust as I can possibly get off of them. And then I take a paintbrush that I cut the ends off so it's a stiff paintbrush. And then I dust it with a paintbrush. And so the paintbrush is dry. It's just going to remove all the dust and give me a little bit more control when I'm trying to get the dust off. I don't know about that. Has anyone seen a plug like this before on an old vintage screen? It's a metal plug and it had the number 18 and the other one had the number 15. I've never seen them before. Leave a note in the comments if you have. You said let's jump on the bus and take a ride downtown. Well, I don't know about. These are the 2 screens with that really cool color, and then this is the side tables that I found at the thrift store that I want to match the color to. So they're a bit wobbly. My husband said, "Honey, they're wobbly." And I said, "I know, but they're kind of grody too." I flipped them over in the thrift store and I seen that they had screws that could be tightened up and then it would be nice and sturdy. I got these vintage screens at the thrift store. They were $4.97. 2 of them. They're old, they're chippy. They're a great old green color. They're my inspiration for 2 tables I got. And I want to paint those tables to go in my living room along with these 2 vintage screens. But I need to match this color. We do not have a DIY color that matches this. So I'm taking a little Apothecary Farm Fresh Gypsy Green, and I think cake batter. Think I'll get it? The results with that was this one. It's not quite there yet. It needs to be more green. Needs to be a little bit darker. So we're gonna try again. This time, we're gonna use Apothecary. We're gonna use a whisper of Farm Fresh, and then we're gonna add a little skeleton key. Think we'll get it? Here I'm mixing up my test samples. So it's a little bit of Apothecary, a little bit of Farm Fresh, and then a little bit of skeleton key. This really wasn't the right color. We're close, but we need more green. I'm gonna test that color on the window. Yep, not right. I thought I needed more green. So the Apothecary is a bit more green and a green that I like. So I added some more Apothecary. Yeah, it's getting better. So I went ahead and tried that on the window too. Yeah, still not right. Okay, so we're still here trying to make this color. I have Apothecary, Farm Fresh, Gravel Road, Gypsy Green. So I know I need Farm Fresh. And I know I need to make it just a smidge blue. So just a whisper of that. And then I need to make it just a smidge darker. So I need some Gravel Road, just to give that age look, maybe a smidge more. I can always add the darkness in the wax after I'm done painting. So I'm not real concerned about getting the darkness because I know I can get that later. But it's still a little bit too blue. So my next thought is a smidge of Gypsy Green. And that really pulls that green tone. Let's grab the screen. Here's the screen. Are we close? We're pretty close. And for those that are wondering what's the difference between this and Apothecary, it's got a little vintage look to it. There's Apothecary, just plain. And I'm just gonna add a smidge more Gypsy Green. I really like the green tone it's pulling. The good thing with DIY paint is I can put it on this screen and it'll wipe right off. We're gonna mix up enough for 2 tables. So I have a solo cup here and I'm gonna put some Apothecary in there. DIY paint is really thick. I love it. I love thick paint. Okay, here's my Apothecary. Now, remember we just needed a smidge of Farm Fresh. So we're gonna take my spatula and we're gonna do just 1 spoonful, spatula full at a time. And make it just a touch blue. That didn't change it much. So that's why we only add a little bit. Because we want to make sure it doesn't go too far to the wrong side. Apothecary, more blue. Now we're gonna add that smidge of Gravel Road. And now we're still too blue. Now is when we make it green. We're gonna go in with the Gypsy Green. This is where we have to be really careful so we don't go to the other side. One spatula at a time. Still too blue. We're close. There were plugs on this table and my husband took them out and put some putty in there. So now I'm just sanding it down so you won't even notice. I'm taking that first color of green that we got and I'm going to paint it on. I have a nice Paint Pixie brush and it goes on really well. And I'm just going to get that first coat on. We will need a second coat, so I'm just getting it on and making a nice first layer. It's still not quite right. It still needs more green. I painted the tables the first coat and put it up against the screen. I'll show you that right here. And I know it needs more green, but I know it needs bright green. So I'm going to try to add some DIY making powder in Plant Lady. So I'm going to take a little bit of my concoction, put it on a white piece of paper, take the Plant Lady, and add a little bit to it. You can add this DIY making powder to paint, to waxes, to patinas, just water. All right, I think we're getting somewhere. We're getting that bright green that I think we need. We're gonna get the screen and we're gonna test it. Here's the screen. Here's the paint. Here's all my other little spots that aren't matching. I don't know. I think that's the best we've been. That's with a little Plant Lady in it. We're gonna get the dirty look with the waxes. But now I'm gonna add the mixed making powder to that cup of paint. Let's hope I don't mess this up. The great thing with DIY paint when you're trying to match a color is you can just go right in and wipe that paint right off. And we're back to our original green. So here we go. Adding the making powder, I need to be really careful and not add too much. So I think I'm going to get something to add it with. Here's a paint spatula. We're just gonna take a little bit on our paint spatula. I really don't know how much it's gonna take. These are really highly pigmented making powders. So there's a tiny, tiny bit, and drop it right in there. Now let's mix. Oh, I didn't know how this was gonna be. Didn't even make a dent. So now I can add another nice scoopful. We're getting there. We still need it to be a bit more green. Let's add more. Still more. We do have quite a bit of paint in here. Still more. think we might be there. Let's try it on the screen. It's a bit lighter, but we're gonna enhance that with the dark wax. So I think we're set. Let's do another coat. Here's the second coat with that color that's got a little bit deeper green to it. And this DIY paint covers amazing. You can go over in those areas and it's going to cover really well. So this, I think, is going to be a pretty good match. Like I said, we might have to darken it up with some dark waxes, but I'm okay with that.
Life goes up and it goes down. I know my mom taught me that. I figured why we fool around so little and we keep track of time being so serious.
Okay, here's take two. This one was the first. We got some goofy lighting. This one was the first color, and now this is the second color. I think we're much closer.
Time is not on my mind, but then it's you. Oh, I love it when the love comes around, and then I remember all things must pass. But I'm not gonna wake up, wake up. I'm not ready, let me have another day. Don't wake up, wake up. Keep it steady, cause I'm happy, I'm not gonna wake up. No, no, not yet. Whoa, no, not yet. Whoa, no, no, not yet. Whoa, I'm afraid I'll end up, no.
Here's the table. It's as close as I got. This, it does look green. I can see on the film it looks a little on the blue side. But this is definitely green. Maybe we gotta hold it back here. And this is also DIY paint, so it needs a sealer. So when we seal this up, it's gonna get a little bit darker and the colors are gonna come through a little bit more. So I think we've accomplished it. And now I'm gonna age this. It's super, super windy outside right now. So I'm not gonna take you with because you'll just blow away. So I'm gonna go out there with a sander and I'm gonna just sand the edges off of this table. And we'll come back and we'll do some wax. We have this all sanded now and we're going to seal it. So this is just gonna be, this is your simple painting process of just putting the paint on, putting a wax on, and buffing it off and having a nice seal to it. So I am using the DIY clear wax. This is the best wax I have ever found. I've used a lot of waxes, and this is by far the best wax to put on and buff off and have a durability that you want in a piece of furniture. So you can see how it darkens up that color versus the lighter right here. So it's really making it nice and green.
Life goes up and it goes down. I know my mom taught me that. I figured why we fool around so little and we keep track of time being so serious. Idiots thinking it will matter, keep me company downtown before the clock runs out. Sun is shining but the rain is well.
Now we're going to put on the dark wax. You need that clear wax barrier first before you put on dark wax, because otherwise it'll absorb right into the paint. This way that clear wax is helping to smooth that dark wax around and then also be able to wipe it off with a paper towel. So you can see that I want the dark wax to just be a hint of dirtiness on this color. And you can wipe it back off, add as much dark wax as you want, and wipe it back. And that's exactly what I did here.
Whoa, no, no, not yet. Whoa, I'm afraid I'll end up nowhere. They keep saying I'll be fine, but how you know that I'll be there when it feels like I'm lying every time someone asks how it goes, and I save the details that actually mean something. to. Friends are nearby, don't need another view. Time is not on my mind, but then it's you. Oh, I love it when the love comes around, and then I remember all things must pass. But I'm not gonna wake up, I'm not ready.
We're gonna put the tables into my living room right now. So I had to rearrange. I pulled the furniture a little bit closer for the winter months, and then the summertime I back it back up to the wall to make some room in the living room. So this is how I'm going ahead and redoing the living room.
Life goes up and it goes down. I know my mom taught me that. I figured why we fool around so little, and we keep track of time, being so serious. Idiots thinking it will matter, keep me company downtown before the clock runs out. Sun is shining, but the rain is welcome too. Friends are nearby, don't need another view. Time is not on my mind, but then it's you. Oh, I love it when the love comes around, and then I remember all
I
things.
didn't even buff this before I brought it in. So I'm going to give this a good buff job. When you put on the DIY clear wax and the dark wax, any kind of wax, you're gonna leave it dry for an overnight, like a good 12 to 24 hours. I usually let it dry overnight, and it will not be sticky anymore, but it'll be, you can feel the wax. So what we have to do is we have to get that off. So there's two ways. You can take paper toweling and just rub it back and forth, and then all of a sudden it'll start to feel really smooth. Like this I can feel is sticky, and this is really smooth. So you're gonna buff, and you'll start to see it shine a little bit also. Some of the dark wax comes off on your paper toweling. It's perfectly fine. So when I'm doing a chair or a table, I just flip it around. I'm on my carpet, so that actually is working really well for me. So maybe it was a good thing I brought it in the house, because it's nice and soft. It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to scuff it up at all. So you can do an entire piece with a piece of paper toweling. But Paint Pixie came out with the buffing brush. So this is a big, huge, expensive brush. So if you do a lot of furniture waxing, this would be a good investment. But we'll get to a sticky side. So this is a little on the, not sticky, just feels like wax is on there. So you can take this buffing brush and go like this. Same thing. You'll get that nice smooth finish with a little bit of sheen just by buffing it with this brush. So that's all I use this brush for, and it's just really, really super soft, and I just use it to buff my furniture. When you're gonna do the top part, takes a lot. I don't know why I'm sitting in front of my pellet stove doing this. That was silly. Good form of exercise. Feel like Popeye, but only in one arm. Now that's a nice smooth finish. So you're gonna do that to both tables. Thanks for watching my video. Again, this is a collab with my friends from the Creative Business Skills and Coaching group that Jamie Ray and Zeb Ray teach. It is my favorite group. So if you want any coaching, head on over, join our group. I don't contribute much, but I do get a lot out of it. I wish I had more time because they teach you everything you need to know. So again, I'm part of a playlist. Go ahead and watch the rest of them. grab a cup of coffee, enjoy. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. And until then, happy painting.
All things must pass, but I'm not gonna wake up, wake up. I'm not ready, let me have another day. Don't wake up, wake up. Keep it steady, cause I'm happy, I'm not gonna wake up. No, no, not yet, whoa. No, not yet, whoa. No, no, not yet, whoa. But I'm not gonna wake up, wake up. Don't wake up, wake up. Keep it steady, cause I'm happy, I'm not gonna wake up.